One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. New Washington Chief Marketing Officer Brian Bowsher is our guest today on One Question. Brian just recently made what I think may be the furthest move possible between two Division I schools from Coral Gables and the University of Miami, all the way across the country to Seattle and the University of Washington. And Brian, I want to begin this conversation by asking, when you first talked to Carter Henderson about the opportunity, how did you analyze, research, or consider where the UW brand has been, both in a traditional sense, but also maybe digitally and socially, versus what you thought you could add to the mix to heighten the profile of the institution and the athletic department even further?
Yeah, for sure. And I do believe it is literally the furthest, at least in the continental U.S. I may or may not have map quested the University of Maine to San Diego State and found that was about 50 miles closer than Miami to Seattle. But from really going back a number of years, Washington has always been one of the schools that from afar have noticed does things in a really great way. And so it's always been a school that I've admired and appreciated, even from afar. So yeah, when I first started talking to Carter about the opportunity, one of the biggest things was, there you probably count them on one hand, the number of schools that are a major flagship state institution in a major metropolitan city. Just that alone is pretty unique. And then you throw in a pretty strong tradition, really strong tradition, and then the opportunity moving forward that I really think we have here, both competitively and just administratively. There's a lot of new energy and excitement just within the department here with a new AD in Jen Cohen, Roy Schick, new senior associate. Carter's been elevated with a little more responsibility, and then myself and lots of others. In addition to what the program's already been doing for the past several years, going back to some of the folks who've been through here and have moved on, especially in the digital space, is just a really, really strong opportunity all together. And so I'm just fired up about where I think we're going, and with a lot of the people that are here in place now makes for just a lot of excitement. So that was really the biggest thing that was on my mind.
I love to hear people talk about how they ended up making really important decisions, whether it's strategically within your current position or with a lifestyle change and a position change like you just made. I mean, was this a days upon days of consideration and research and reflection, or did you know pretty quickly that this was a really neat opportunity that you wanted to aggressively go after?
Yeah, that's a good question. So really from our first conversation, it was something that I did have a lot of interest and was serious in considering. So wouldn't have pursued it past that if there wasn't, if I didn't feel like this could make a lot of sense. But yeah, candidly, Carter and I probably had a handful of conversations and certainly anytime you move as far as this, both literally and metaphorically, you've got to do a lot of soul searching, but for all the reasons I described, it made a lot of rational analytic sense. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to this kind of gut feel. And can you see yourself living here, and can you see yourself kind of working in this environment? And the answer to all of those questions was yes.
As you reflect upon your time at Miami, and certainly your profile in the marketing world of college athletics, a number of people, if not most everybody in the marketing field, has known about your profile. But how do you feel like your skill set evolved, improved, became accentuated during your time at Miami?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's really nice, really nice of you to say. The great thing about Miami is that it forces you to work your butt off. It's a really, really tough market for a lot of different reasons. Not least of all is just the sports competition. You've got to really fight to get attention in the marketplace. And so I think that is where having some a strong mind for how digital can help, not just in social media, but email marketing and anything creative that kind of grabs the fans' attention can really break through. But I would say probably the biggest thing that Miami taught me is how to work with your sales department, and particularly outbound sales reps. To me, and where I think we had a great deal of success, particularly recently within the past year and a half, is driving leads for sales reps, creating new contacts and touch points so that when those reps are pounding the phones, that it's a little softer conversation. We really ramped up our efforts in that regard and built our sales staff, and really they were a huge reason why we were able to sell out our men's basketball season on a full season basis last year. And, at last check, they'd sold, I believe, 11,000 new season tickets for football and are humming in the right direction there. I think on pace to set a brand new record for most seasons sold in a season, even dating back to some of their national championship years. So a lot of it, again, is just helping sales be more successful in doing everything that we can to kind of drum up excitement that really feeds them actionable leads and is maybe a little bit more of data marketing, a little more ticket marketing in particular than it is kind of generally what maybe some might associate with college marketing in general, which is more kind of on the promotional side or, figuring out which game to have your Girl Scouts night or rolling T-shirts or that kind of stuff.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.